I might not have made mention of this, but I did wonder. In thinking on KAMELOT's The Awakening and the journey we took preceding this with the full album in terms of first impression, which I loved that journey, I compared it in retrospect to The Shadow Theory, the preceding album of what else I've been introduced to. And I'm going to dig back, as I promised you, into the earlier catalog of KAMELOT for myself and experience the many years that they've been around to get a better foundation. I've only humored the first two albums, though, at present. And when I think back, though, on The Shadow Theory, I did wonder if there was a possibility of maybe more visualizers to arrive. Sometimes you'll see that with different groups that, an album will debut different types of visualizer accompaniments post the official release. And, we've seen that with many groups from time to time, some of which I've highlighted in the channel, maybe examples that you can think of as well. KAMELOT appears to be one such entity, and I did wonder if that would be a possibility, because The Shadow Theory received a total of 4 visualizers, including 1 performance video, 2 mainstream music videos, and a lyric video. The Awakening, though, on the other hand, had at least a slightly decreased count by 1. We had 1 music video, 1 live performance, and 1 lyric video. Was there room, though, for a music video? Appears yes. I did wonder if there would be another one, and my mullings have been satisfied. With the track that if there was a possibility, and there's many you could apply to the visualizer, or what should get a music video on the Awakenings collection. Again, I loved the album. Many of you might recall that journey we took a couple months ago, but it was just such a fun ride. But in terms of mulling over specific works I would like to get a visualizer, I couldn't ask for one better. I am so grateful it's Eventide. And this was very much a surprise debut when I saw it on my feed of, there's a new KAMELOT video, and I saw the track name and I went immediately, yes. This piece, in consideration of the album's lineup, which was great, generally, and I don't want to overshadow other great songs like my Pantheon, Willow, Midsummer's Eve, Opus of the Night, One More Flag in the Ground, New Babylon, of course, The Great Divide. There were so many to mention, right? And other ones as well. The New Moon. You go for the entirety of the album. The whole collection was great. Each song specifically defined in their own ways of what's rooted in my memory. Eventide, though, and I've gone for that album on many repeat cycles at this point. I couldn't give you a number. This piece, I've constantly around to it. Every single time I have to listen to it maybe at least twice, 3 times. It's just so darn good. It is perfection. It's what I hope for with music in terms of well-rounded, good art. And many of you know I like being able to spotlight music on this channel given it has such a dominant love in my life. And I love that mutual journey that we can take together in enjoying said masterpieces, especially in the European rock and metal regard. I state this for anyone who's not been introduced to KAMELOT yet. Though their name has plenty of great circulation, they've been around for many years, as I said, more years than even I've been accustomed to them. I know many of you precede me in terms of your familiarity in years. Think power metal, symphonic metal, just overall great quality music, and specifically metal on the European affiliated. I believe they are technically US-based, but their members, I believe, do come from a European background, and Napalm Records gives them that adjacency and presence in terms of many of the European groups that they carry, and they're a very well-rounded record company, or distributor that I've been very impressed by in terms of the many groups I've spotlighted, including KAMELOT. I feel fortunate to bring them on. I feel quite honored to be a new fan, but to highlight their works of art. Eventide certainly qualifies. And while this video might intertwine some of my past comments in terms of that first impression journey we took, I've already been exposed to a song, many of you know. If you want to consider those thoughts, it'll be more in detail there. I already have the video posted. This is concerning, maybe some of the thoughts on this will interweave, right, on reflection. I'm sure they will. But this is more so based around a discussion on the visualizer, which we're about to entertain together. But it's just nice to have a reprisal, not just with KAMELOT. I didn't think it'd be returning this quickly, but to Eventide, again, I couldn't ask for one better in terms of music video application. I'm so happy it's this work. I loved it on a first listen. I've loved it ever since. It is a perfect beauty of a piece. If you've not been introduced, get ready. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the visualizer, and if you're not familiarized with my format, either lyrics are provided if you want to read along with the narrative of the song, but maybe maybe you can go back and read the two if you wish, because I'm sure the visualizer will captivate you. Their music videos are quite strong on delivery. I love the execution, the detail, the precision. There's so much to respect of KAMELOT. Even in my early introduction and just 2 albums, I've loved every minute I've spent with them. Eventide, though, aside from many good works on The Awakening, this one sticks out. And I don't like to rank things, but I'm just telling you, because again, on risk I'm overshadowing, I don't mean to. It's just this piece seeps in so well. Let's entertain this together. It's just so darn good. I can't wait if you've never been introduced, and I hope there's a bit of mixture of perspective that some of you are knowledgeable Camelot fans, but maybe some of you aren't. You've heard the name perhaps, but you've never dug deeper. Let this be your first introduction. This is such a stellar track to kick you off. Already I'm getting that nostalgic Fred to where we were several months ago on the first impression. God, I love that startup, man. That riff grounding, the pace, oh my gosh. And already you see the grand performance in terms of the aesthetics. Such a smooth flow, my word. Already I'm just immersed. That's such a balanced work and the elegance of it. It feels so classy. Fits the European regard, but the atmosphere to the visualizer, the location choice, the color balance between, again, the dulled black and the dulled yellow-white. Beautiful ambience to run with. So steady. And the vocal lingers are part of Tommy, my word, they're so good. That builds on this chorus. My gosh. And the intrusion on the riff. To give it that power metal vibe again with that dominant symphonic basis, it's just the two work so well together on this. As has been the case with many Camelot pieces. And this, of course, navigates us into this perfect verse structure coming. I love this section of the song so much. Oh, man. Oh, it's so good. As I said, perfection. And if it couldn't get better. Oh. Sorry, I just love this. No, I'm not sorry. I don't apologize. This verse is so darn good. I am so glad I introduced myself earlier on to the world of European rock and metal. My word, it's been such a fun journey, and there's been so many groups that have come along that I've been introduced to on this channel, many via your recommendations, and Kamelot was one such at a time, though I'd heard the name before. I'm so glad I followed through. I love the audience of who approaches my comments. Many of you are just so great at providing me. I welcome don't like to use this word, I just, for lack of a better term, I love the community we're fostering here in terms of just music connoisseurs that amongst you have quite a mindset of groups that I should consult. And I've been a metalhead for many years, so obviously there's an appeal that instantly connects on that regard, but Europe, I just can't get enough of it. KAMELOT. Welcome introduction. I was entranced from the first minute I listened to Phantom Divine. That was the first piece together that we experienced. Eventide, though, oh my gosh, it's just listening to it again on review. Yes, we have humored it before, and the first experience was intoxicating enough with the visualizer to accompany and just being reminded of how good this piece is. Instantly, it is so spellbinding of a work. I love it so much. Oh my gosh. Thank you to everybody who introduced me to KAMELOT. This is what I hope for of good music, and I don't like to brag, as many of you know, I try and maintain a bit of a humble disposition, but I do think about quite often the fact that, as I've said many times, I'm an anomaly in my world in regards to my personal relationships. Many people that I'm connected to personally have not humored yet the European music world, especially on the metal regards. It's just not been a point of entrance for them. I hope that eventually there can be an interest that intersects. But I'd love to have a sense of community built with people that I'm in the circles of course, though many of you have satisfied that yearning quite well. I consider KAMELOT, and I do think of quite often, none of my peers are listening to this. They are missing out. In terms of killer music, and just good art in general. Every piece I've humored from them, and especially specifically on The Great Awakening, or not The Great Awakening, but The Awakening, there's so many pieces that stick out in terms of signature isolated elements. Eventide, though, I've never been able to forget about this piece since the first entrance, and I'm immediately brought back when I listen to it again, every single stinking time. And to add such an elegant visualizer on, I love the color balance and palette here. The darker black, the drenched teal, the suppressed and dulled yellow, the amber, the glowing white. Just, oh my gosh, it's so elegant, entrancing, adds this killer atmosphere. I mean, they introduced it immediately. It's like, hey, here's this beautiful architecture. I don't know if this is CGI, or it looks a bit CGI in terms of the way it's displayed, but if it's inspired by a real location in Europe, I'm sure it is. You just feel automatically I'm being throttled into somewhere so classy and mature. God, the vision here just impresses me so much. Though I'm still perusing for maybe the navigation of the specific narrative with the story of the piece, or the video, you instantly feel connected again in that romantic drive. Types of songs like this just immediately entrance you, and Eventide on mood, key choice, balance on the symphonic and the power interplay, which is just so natural here. I love the mixing of his work so much, blended with beautiful vocals on behalf of Tommy. The background presence, the vibrations, the subtlety, the way that closure, I cannot get enough of it every time I hear it. That last iteration that my songs will guide, or shall guide you through my house of pain. I love that line. Just the way his voice fluctuates. It's just so cool to listen to. I love this piece so much. It's even, steady flow. When the pacing kicks up, though, at least in those chorus sections, again, I love the drive of it. It just feels like this fun ballroom number with a glowing intensity that just prizes itself as a favorite of mine in the symphonic metal territory, and that is a particular subset that I find general immersion with naturally. I'm a big orchestral fan, so any types of instruments that fit along those lines and how they're used, especially with such creativity as Europe has constantly done, like with KAMELOT, I welcome the opportunity to be humored. Eventide was just such a beautiful introduction, and I hope for those of you who have not been introduced yet to KAMELOT, you feel the exact same way. I will also point out, as many of you know, they've got their live tour coming up in the US. I am really hoping that I get a chance to go. It's not looking likely, admittedly, and I really wish it were. I will never forgive myself, though, if I can't make it. I mean, Battle Beast is coming. I've been introduced to them, as well as Zandria on the channel with all of you, KAMELOT, and Melissa Bonney. I mean, like, how can I miss out on that? I hope I get to make it. I'm trying to fight life's direction right now, and that's a bit hard. This will suit on risk that I'm not able to go. This video will serve as a pleasant treatment of sorts to make the experience perhaps less bitter of not being there. I mean, well, I don't know. I've barely gone to Seattle in the past couple of years. I would love to go, though, to this concert. I don't want to miss it. In particular, I don't know what their current set is. I don't know if it's going to follow in terms of other KAMELOT tours previous with the Awakening era, but I hope Eventide gets performed, and I hope I get to one day witness it. It's just such a good number, and immediately you watch this video, and it just compels that interest to see it perform live. It is so good. A very well-rounded number, beautiful reach, and vastness in terms of its feel and its application. Just to be in the moment, witnessing the obvious passion, which is communicated quite well into the performances from the band and Tommy specifically, the vocals, the intensity, the professionalism, the performance. It's just so ethereal and elegant. Even just the close-up shots of the band, especially Tommy's vocals, the performance, the hand gestures, everything just connects. It feels so strong of a work. I hope for this of music, and I constantly get it. As I've said many times, there's not been one artist or one song that I've not loved, and KAMELOT was a very welcome introduction. I feel quite honored to be showcasing their talents, and perhaps, if I can in any way, compel interest for new listeners, if you happen to fit such an attribution. And I welcome discourse on that down below if you do wish to disclose your perspective and your angle approach. Whether you're a new KAMELOT listener or a very familiarized listener to them, maybe you enjoyed the journey with me through the awakening. I know many of you, I'm sure, did. That was such a fun ride. And the selection of tracks I picked from the Shadow Fury as well. I don't want to overshadow that album either, because it was also really good. I'd love to hear your thoughts down below on this piece and the visualizer to accompany. Oh, I love this number so much. It's perfect. And I don't throw that word around loosely, right? Perfection. It's hard to master. Because rarely anything is ever perfect in my world, but at least, just my world, but the world. In terms of approach, though, the way I look at this piece and the visualizer that we've now been completely entertained by and captivated with, perfection absolutely applies. Whether it be on the tune or just the mood, letting it sink in as a nostalgic throwback to how captivated I was originally with Eventide on a first impression. I'm reminded exactly of how stellar this work is. Every time I listen to it, I've never forgotten that first experience, and it's just brought back quite well. I love this number. I can't say enough about it. I love Eventide. So many good numbers on that album. This is definitely one of the more triumphant ones. I've never been able to forget it from the first moment I heard it. And to be reminded of just how beautiful and glamorous it is as a work is a fun experience in itself. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.